Is he snoozing?
He was like fall asleep when I got there. I lay with him anyways. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm laying with you. He's like, okay. And then I got up and he's like, where are you going? I'm like, I want to go downstairs. He's like,
He did. No. What's that? Oh, okay. Probably not. I mean, I might if I come up. If I'm not too. Okay. Love you too. I hear you. Just looks like there's something wrong with me. You hearing me? Hola. Hey, not too much. When you type a comment in, it'll actually read it to me. Yeah, I heard it. I heard it say, "Hey, bro," and then I realized my one of the things that happens on this is the sound is too loud. My engine sound, so I couldn't hear over that. So type another comment and then let me see how loud it is. Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
What up?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Did you hear it? Um did it say it on your end? Like on the stream itself? Did it say the comment? Okay. Okay. Well, let's try it. Let's try it that way. I was just going to show you a couple things and then you just type comments in and it reads them to me. And you might be able to hear what it's reading cuz it's kind of funny when it reads them off cuz it's just some lady's voice. But she does a pretty good job. It sounds pretty good. Okay? Cuz I was right. If you had a place like whenever you get one, there's like a really good chat function that you can use. But yeah, but for the stream, and I was looking that up. I was looking that up today. I thought, is there a way that you can allow people who are watching your stream to voice chat with you? But it's not on this type of chat on this type of stream. So weird. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, okay, sweet. All right, see. Ya. But yeah, I was just gonna go through some of the nice thing about this game is when you install it on the PlayStation and then you start playing it, there are very few things you have to do to like optimize it. You know, I turn music off. I always during a race I usually don't like music. That's totally optional. But other than that, I don't mess with anything in the sound settings. The I think I turned this down a little bit because sometimes the other cars can be really noisy when you're in traffic. Um, but in the master, I just turned down because the game for some reason is way louder than my voice chat. Um, but like video, I don't know. I've never messed with this stuff. You know, leave it, and then controls is the big one. Um, the thing that I was going to talk about mainly is and why this game is set, of course, as like one of the best um, driving sims is the force feedback. You know, when you're playing a video game, you have sight, sound, and the steering wheel. Those are your only communication with the game. So the graphics in the game are pretty darn good. You'll see that. The sounds in the game are some of the best, which is great. You know, good engine sounds make a lot of difference in the tire squeal sounds and the other cars around you. So that helps. But then that third form of communication, the through the wheel, is people. You know, it's you don't realize how important it is until you've actually felt good force feedback, and it's really pretty simple. I use a default setup. The settings you see here, like what buttons do what, I just use a default that they give you. And then there's these settings. And I did play around with these and took a little time. to come to use these, but um, these three settings, curb, road, and slip, are all just sort of artificial effects that they add into the force feedback, that some people say, well, if they're not really there, why would I want those feelings to come through the wheel? You know, when you run over a curb, you feel it in the car vibrates, but the wheel doesn't necessarily vibrate. Well, I don't have a car to tell me that that car is vibrating. I only have the wheel, so I'll take a little bit of that through the wheel. Same thing with road and slip. Slip is whenever your tires start to lose traction. You can feel your steering go light, you know, sometimes, and that it's that effect. So I just use a little bit of these to give those effects through the wheel, because that's, you know, you got your sight and you got your sound, and then your touch. The only touch you have is the wheel. You don't feel anything else coming through your seat like you would normally in a real car. So Assetto Corsa really gets this stuff right, like on a grand scale. And it's like, you know, I use the description of how this game is compared to other games. It's like, you know, watching a movie in HD versus standard definition. You know, it's you get so much more than you know, you don't realize what you're missing until you see it. But it's actually a lot more than that. That's not like an adequate analogy, you know, because I personally don't ever spend the extra dollar to rent movies in HD. I just get the standard definition. I don't really care. But when it comes to Assetto Corsa, you know, it's kind of spoiled me for other games, like games that I used to like that were half decent simulations. I'm not, you know, I don't bother with them so much anymore. So that's just kind of the intro to Assetto Corsa. Yo. Let's see how to drive.
Got it.
Did you now when you type that in, did you hear the voice that it said? Because I heard got it, but did you hear when it said got it?
Yes.
That's great. Make it
On
say
delay.
make it say some stuff, like, you know, that's the thing. From the day that me and my buddies found on like Windows that you can, like, you know, type stuff in and make the computer say stuff back to you. I mean, we were just like, oh man, it said ball sack, you know, like you just type all that
Lick
stuff.
my balls.
Car. What if you pick one car off the top of your head, favorite car in the world to drive? What would it be? Might have it.
Stinky hairy balls. Ferrari 458 or similar.
458 or similar. Well, you're in luck, because these guys are very Italian and they made about every Ferrari ever. So we'll just do a normal 458, not the race car. That'll be more exciting. Or do they not have the 458? Oh my god. Ah, 458. Okay, yeah, they have it. It's just black and white. I didn't know it was. And you can pick a few different colors. I think if I ever got one of these, I saw one at the, have you ever been to the,
man.
yeah, it's nice. Have you ever been to the Shenley Park Vintage Grand Prix?
Love the choices.
Oh yeah, this game has what you need.
Yes, Shenley.
Yeah, the Vintage Grand Prix, in the summer, they have, you know, just an awesome car show at it. And that really, I saw it was a white 458 with black wheels just like this. And I was just like, I like Ferrari, but I mean, normally I'm just like, yeah, Ferrari red, cool, you know. I'm like, I love it, you know, but I wouldn't like, you know, go killing anybody for it, but I really like that thing. It looked good. Let's see here. So the Nürburgring GP automatic. There's all these settings here, and it looks daunting. There's like all this crap, but it's most of it you just always leave it just the way it is, and you don't piss with it. Like automatic gearbox on off, automatic clutch. That's only if you're using a shifter and for whatever reason you don't have a third pedal. Automatic blip I always leave on. Certain cars get weird whenever you don't leave that on, because I don't have a shifter. I have the paddles on my wheel. Racing line, that's kind of a wonky thing. It's good for when you're learning the track. It kind of shows you where you should be on the track as you're driving around. Traction control and ABS I always leave factory. So if a car actually had it or didn't, I would drive it as such. Stability control, that's, I think, an in-game aid. So if you're just, you know, having a lot of trouble with a certain car, you can turn that up. Mechanical damage, I always leave up just for the heck of it. You can turn that off, you know, if you're going to be learning, you might as well turn it off. Tire wear on, that's a big thing, because the other huge thing about Assetto Corsa that makes it one of the best driving games out there is they've put crazy amounts of thought into modeling how the tires behave and how they change throughout, you know, a couple laps of racing or a couple hours of racing. They just have gone bonkers on that, and I think if you turn tire wear off, it simplifies them a little bit, so it's not as interesting to drive with them off. And I didn't like it at first, but once I realized, you know, how, you know, hey, tires get hot, they warm up, and then, you know, they work at their best at a certain time. It's just kind of fun to actually, you know, do that stuff. And, you know, just like you would if you really went to a racetrack, you'd have to be worried about that stuff. So ooh la la. Yeah, this is the Nürburgring GP track, so it's just like it's a 2 minute lap track. This is probably my favorite track in the game. The other nice thing about this game is just about every car you get into, you really do not have to come in and piss around with the setup. Some cars that don't have ABS, you'll find that you want to come in and turn the brake power down, because at 100% brake power in a car that doesn't have ABS, you're locking the tires up all the time. So I usually turn it down, but if you got ABS, you don't mess with it. And this car doesn't really have too many things that you can adjust. You can use street or semi-slick, like a track tire. I'll just do a track tire. I'll do street. And I'm just doing a practice session. And, you know, there's some suspension characteristics you can piss with, but it's really nice that you don't have to piss with that stuff. There's some of these sim games, for whatever reason, the cars, by default, are like a handful pieces of crap. You can't even get around the track without going in and playing with settings and changing the suspension and tire pressure, and it's like, why wouldn't it be like optimized for most people right out of the box? Like, give me a freaking break. Okay, so I play in this view with no steering wheel, because I have a steering wheel in front of me. It's my, you know, the Thrustmaster wheel. But I'll play with this one. I mean, I do like playing with this view just because the wheel looks good and it looks like a cool view. But usually I'll do that. Forever and ever, I always played in bumper cam like this. But I don't know. I've just gotten used to playing from the interior view, and I've been using the interior view more. So I'll just go with this one for now, just so you can get a feel for what I'm actually doing with my wheel. Because what you see is happening with the wheel on the screen is exactly what I'm actually doing with it. And actually, yeah, it actually does that, all that shit. So anyhow, let's get driving. Now there's a few different things on the screen Obviously on the right's your tack and your gear and your speed and all that. And then on the left is the map and timing and everything. You can turn it all off, which is what I often do when I have everything I need in the car with me. But also what you'll find, and this is handy when you're driving an older car, especially because older cars have more persnickety tires that tend to be harder to deal with, is that tells you how your tires are doing. Blue meaning they're cold, and you want them to get green, or at least the temperature to come up, because usually the higher the temperature, the little bit more grippy they're being. And street tires, I have street tires on here. Those tend to be slippery when cold. And so, like, I'd normally go out for a lap and just, take it easy and warm them up a little bit. And then once they start coming up to temperature, start getting on it, and then you're less likely to go careening off the road to your death. Still a little cold. I broke a little late there.
So you can obviously drive a paddle-shifted car as a stick shift.
Yeah, the paddle shift is, I always say if I had a lot of money and I was going to get a car to take to a racetrack, as much as I'm a stick shift for life guy, and I'm, would always have stick shift cars, and probably if I were a billionaire, most of my cars in my collection would be stick shift. I wouldn't be shy about taking a paddle shift car to the track, because it's just really, I don't want to say it's easier, but you're going to be so much more consistent.
Are you shifting WA stick now or paddles?
Paddles. Yeah, I'm using paddles right now. And, for on a track, when it really comes down to it, and you're like, oh jeez, I'm forgetting what kind of tires I'm using. That was the right breaking point for racing tires right there. I should have went off the road altogether. But bang out lap after lap with a real an H pattern shifter, and a clutch, and heel toe downshifting and stuff. I mean, I'm sure if I did it enough, I would be that good and I could do it. But it's it gives you a. Yeah, exactly. The paddles, if you had the money and you're at the track to have a good time and go fast, it's paddles would probably be a little more fun, And it gives you an appreciation for all those years that those guys did that, especially at Le Mans, 24 hours of driving this surreally fast car and having to do perfect upshifts and downshifts all day. It's crazy to think about. This thing is squirrely with these tires.
I drove the 5991s on an open course supercar afternoon.
Oh, no way! 599. Yeah. I always wanted to do one of those deals. The 599 was, strangely, is one of my favorite Ferraris for some reason. It might just be because it's one of the only Ferraris I ever had a dream about. But I had a dream about a light blue with tan, dark tan interior 599, and I really liked it. Always kind of liked it from then on. The only 599 they have in this game, though, is the XX, which is like, like super duper fast, track only one and all that stuff. So, but it's still, it's still cool. If we're up to these guys, they probably have every Ferrari ever made in this game, but it's a really small team that makes this game, and it's just a miracle what all they've been able to put together and the quality of it. I'll do a little outside view again. See how this thing looks. Hear that sound on the outside? They really nail it. Driving from the outside is kind of weird.
So cool.
Now I'll crash. I usually just crash instead of just quitting. I'll crash. Ooh. Yeah, it's toast. Yeah, not really realistic crash effects, but that's not the point of the game, I guess. So, real quick, because I know you can probably get pretty soon be going off to sleep because early rise, but what was I thinking to do? Could just sort of scroll through.
What's
here.
your fave car?
My favorite car is it's hard to say. Well, it's easy to say, I guess. Who's this guy? What is it? This is hard. Let's go like this. Cliche, really, but McLaren F1.
Nice Beamers.
Oh yeah, they if there's one thing they have more of than Ferrari in this game, it's BMWs and maybe Lotuses.
Hard to pick for sure.
Yeah. So McLaren F1 is it's kind of a cliche like favorite car in a way these days, but I really was the first car I was ever truly interested in back in the 90s. I remember seeing that thing and being like, holy F, and yeah, so that's probably the one, man. Go to a different track here real quick, and we'll do a race. Just so you can see what it's like driving around with other cars and stuff. I want to do Barcelona for some reason. It's a total shit show, but hard, same class, 14. I'll just do a couple laps. Track surface. And I wanted to do something. Tire blankets. Automatic blip off. But yeah, this game, they've been just adding tons of cars in. And the thing that I kind of knew that they did a lot more research than your average game developer in creating a car model. Meaning like they make sure to get things like spring rates and damping rates right, and how much pressure would go into the OEM tires, and if you were to put a racing tire on it, how big would that tire be, how would it grip. I knew they put a lot of thought and detail into modeling the cars, but apparently they get the suspension geometry and movements all modeled correctly. So your actual suspension movement, because to their point, they found that having a good tire model really didn't make much sense unless the contact patch with the road behaved as it would with the real car. And that kind of thing depends.
Wow.
That depends a lot on the type of suspension and how it moves and all that.
The detail.
Yeah, so the fact that they give you that for what amounts to pennies. There's other like really hardcore simulators and stuff for PC that are I'm normally a clean driver. I don't know what got in there. Hold on one second. But like iRacing is the big PC-based simulator, and their cars are like $10 a piece or like $12 a piece or something. Oh shit! I forgot I don't have ABS. Frickin' McLaren, piece of crap. It's too pure. Ooh, locking it up bad. All right, now that I remember what I'm driving. That's it. That's the other thing about the McLaren F1 is like, back in the 90s, it was like that was the best car in the whole world, and it's certainly still considered as such to this day, one of the best cars of all time. And it's like, yeah, of course, you know, it's the McLaren F1. Well, oh, I'm out of here. Oh no, I'm alright. But the reality of the car is that it's quite a freaking handful to drive. I mean, not just because it's really powerful and stuff, and you know, gets crazy real easy, but oh wait, this layout's kind of there's a different layout of this track or something. I don't know, but it's just really not the most easy to drive car. It's a handful, like at all times. I couldn't hear that last comment over this thing howling. This turn's a squirrely turn. Yes. And I have to rev match the downshifts too, because this is one of the cars where it's really wonky downshift lips for some reason. Maserati wants bad. Oh my god, I'm braking too early. I'm surprised they didn't go around. Little drift action. He's a faster car. Might as well crank this thing out. Alright, now I'm just gonna, I got my thoughts are gathered. But yeah, iRacing on PC, I actually played it for a month or so back in the day. And it really didn't win me over in any way. It was, you know, very, very expensive. It's really for people who, you know, they want to choose, this is my favorite car, this is the car I'm going to specialize in, and I'm going to learn it inside and out. And that's, you know, I'm going to eat, sleep, and breathe this one car. And, you know, I'm into all sorts of cars, you know. I don't want to just kind of, I like mastering things, but when it comes to cars, I kind of want to just taste the rainbow, you know. So that was kind of my thing with iRacing. I said, screw that.
I will be the same way.
Yeah, I would think. I would have thought so, considering you've owned the rainbow. These guys are like, what's this guy doing? I'll probably call it a race there. They're like, get off the track, asshole.
Jack of all, master of none.
Yeah, that's what I am as far as racing too. It's like, you know, I can pretty much jump in any kind of
That's
car
my motto.
and do well. But I can't, you know, I'm really
Haha.
not what you'd call like alien. That's one term you'll come across with sim racing is, you know, somebody you think you're like really good and you're like really fast and you can, you know, really tear it up, and then you come across somebody who's like a whole order of magnitude faster, and so the term for those guys is basically alien. You know, like they're from another planet, and that's it. Like some people just have that, and then it's like at the end of the day, it's just about having fun. You know, so you don't, you know.
Corvettes.
Let's see here. Let's see what we got under the bow tie.
Let me see them.
We just got these two here. But this one is actually a pretty good one. Would you want me to drive one or the other? I think they have a more traditional. This guy's got that more traditional Corvette yellow or livery.
That's okay.
Oops.
Gotta go, man.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, when you get the PlayStation, the other thing I wanted to say is, you know, video games, unfortunately these days, you know, these things are basically like computers, so, you know, it's not just like put the disc in, turn it on and play, you know, it's got to install and there's updates and all that. So, like I said, before you get your rig set up, might as well get the game set up, and we'll be able to do a chat over the PlayStation. They call it like PlayStation chat party or something like that. You know, you just do it over the PlayStation, and I'll walk you through getting everything set up and all that, and that'll work out a lot better. So, thanks for checking it out, man.
I hear ya, it looks crazy cool.
Right on, dog. Hey, have a good night.
All right, bro. Lick my balls and good night.
Take it easy. Special Kush. Lots of Kush. Mm-hmm.